Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Last night I went to see Love, Simon with my sisters for my sister's 15th birthday. As you know, I read the book not too long ago and I thought I would give my official review on the movie and let you know what I thought. But there were a few things that they changed in the film that I'm not sure how I feel about. At the start of the film, the way that they represented Blue when he was writing on the computer when he was talking to Simon. First they had him as being just this guy in a blue t-shirt who was white and he was typing and they weren't showing his face, they were just showing his chin, and I thought, okay, that's a good way to do it because in the book white is the default and Simon just assumes that Blue is white. The whole reveal at the end would have been more climactic if you're making the cinema audience, if they haven't read the book, if you're making them believe that Blue is white. However, then they had Bram, who they made a lot more involved in the story in the movie, and I just thought they made it a little too obvious that he was Blue. Bram was more a part of the story than anybody else. I don't know if that's just because I was focusing on Bram because I already knew that he was Blue, so I was like, bam, that's Bram, and so I was watching his every move and I was watching how he interacted with Simon and how he was, because I was kind of intrigued because I thought maybe they've changed it, maybe they've changed who Blue is. They were making him so involved and it just seemed so obvious to me that he was Blue. Maybe that's just me because I'm a reader of the book, so I'm a little bit more aware than the average viewer, but even my younger sister said to me, you know, even from just watching the trailer, I knew it was going to be that guy. And I just think that they could have made him a little less central in the story like they did in the books, to make the reveal a little bit more climactic for the audience. They then had Simon believe that Bram was Blue pretty much straight away in the film. They had Bram writing on the computer to him, they had the voiceover of Bram reading all of Blue's lines, and I was thinking to myself, wow, have they revealed it already? I sat there kind of like, are they revealing it this early? Are they going to do like a thing where the audience knows but Simon doesn't? Because I thought that would be a pretty cool take on it, but it would kind of take away from the story because the whole point of the book is to guess who he is. I thought maybe they were taking a different approach in the film, like, oh, you know who Blue is before Simon does. But that actually wasn't the case, and I think that that would have been a really smart way to do it, but turns out they were just kind of putting him at the start as who Simon thinks it is to kind of make the reveal less obvious, but I thought it actually did the opposite, if I'm honest. One critique that I saw online yesterday of a review of the film was absolutely ridiculous, and it was that because Bram was at the party with Simon and they weren't flirting with each other, and Bram ends up kissing a girl, which also doesn't happen in the books by the way, it wasn't realistic that Bram was secretly gay because Simon and Bram would have been flirting the whole time at the party. No. If they're closeted, they wouldn't have been flirting with each other because they don't want to be outed. So why would they be flirting at the party? That makes no sense as a critique. I didn't like the party scene because, I don't know, I just hate when books are changed so much in films. Like, I don't mind the occasional tweak because it has to be adapted a little bit to make it worthy of being in the cinema. Obviously, it has to be adapted so that it'll work more in the format of a movie, of course. I didn't like the fact that he did kiss a girl. I feel like they kind of threw that in just to throw the audience off, like, and to throw off anyone that had read the book, because it did throw me off. I was like, oh, okay, so they've changed who they've changed who Blue is. It's not going to be Bram, so they've changed it completely from the book, and that kind of threw me off, and throughout the rest of the film I was like, great. It's not Bram. How annoying. They've changed the book completely. Just his explanation at the end of being drunk and confused, I guess it is kind of realistic because obviously, you know, gay people, they still, if they're closeted, he might be a little confused. He might be like, okay, maybe I do like girls. Like, do you know what I mean? And if he's drunk and confused, then maybe he might give it a try. A girl comes on to him, he's like, you know what, yeah, I'm gonna kiss her because I want to seem normal to everybody else around me. I don't want people to know I'm gay. Or maybe he's just kissing her because when you're drunk you do stupid shit. I've definitely done a lot of stupid shit while I've been drunk, so I guess it was realistic in that sense. Just feel like it was thrown in more to kind of divert the audience from it being Bram, because they had made it so obvious at the start that it was him, and Simon was so like convinced that it was Bram, and I'm pretty sure in the book he's not convinced that it's Bram at all throughout the entire story. Am I wrong? I'm not sure, I can't remember, let me know in the comments below. I only read the book not too long ago, but it's already kind of left my mind. Yeah, there were a few adaptations from the movie that I didn't like. The last thing that I didn't like, which I will agree with this critique that I saw on the internet, was the end scene on the Ferris wheel. Now, in the book, Simon sends one last email to Blue and says, meet me at the Ferris wheel if you want to meet me, blah blah blah. To me that seemed like a better way to do it, because obviously Bram is still closeted, so in the film when Simon goes onto the Tumblr and he puts it out there for everyone to see and he's like, oh, meet me here if you wanna blah blah blah, this is romantic. Like, it is romantic to do it publicly, but at the same time Bram is still closeted, so to expect him to show up at the Ferris wheel and out himself to everyone when everybody is there standing there cheering Simon on like, woo, you good boy, he's gonna come. Like, that's very pressurising for him, and I thought it was hypocritical because Simon screams at Martin that he took away his experience of coming out and that it should be his thing, which I do agree with, and I nearly cried during that bit. But when he was like, you took this away from me, I get to decide how I come out, blah blah blah. And then later on in the film, he's almost forcing Bram to come out so that he will meet him in person in front of everyone when everybody knows, because he contacts him through the public website that everybody can see. Isn't he almost taking away Bram's choice and how he gets to say that he's gay? Because if Bram shows up at the Ferris wheel, which he does eventually at the end, he is outing himself to everybody, and he's not getting to do it the way that he might have planned. He might have wanted to come out to his friends and family his own way, and I understand that this was adapted in the film to make it more dramatic and more, you know, teen drama, and to make it feel a bit more romantic as a grand gesture, like meet me here, and everyone's waiting and cheering them on, and eventually they have that kiss and the whole school's like, yeah, you go, you've got a boyfriend, and it's like showing that everyone around is accepting in a much faster way than like having them meet privately like they do in the book. They meet in Bram's car and they kiss. I guess they would have had to add an extra scene on the end to show that everyone was accepting of their relationship. They would have had to show a school scene or something where people weren't bullying them for being together. And I understand why they did that in the film, so I'm not completely hating on it, because it was cute and it was a nice little finish to the film, but it did kind of bother me because I was thinking that in the back of my mind, like, isn't this a bit hypocritical that Simon's making him come out in front of everybody to come meet him? And then when he sat there like, oh, he didn't come, it's like, did you expect him to show up when the whole school is waiting and he's closeted? But maybe that's just because I overanalyze things and I think too much, and because I'd read the book I was a bit critical because I don't like changes like that. But I do understand why they did it, so I totally get why they adapted it that way in the film. I saw a lot of comments on YouTube on a different video that critiqued the film for the ending scene, and I do want to say I understand your point of view that you don't really care about that. Like, of course they had to change it for the film because it was, you know, it just has to be adapted a different way, and obviously not everyone is going to overanalyze it the way that I did, and it shouldn't be, it's not supposed to be read that deep. It's meant to be a fun, light-hearted film for gay people to enjoy that is just, yeah, that's all it is. It's like, it's not a special film in any way other than in regards to the way that this has never been done before, like a mainstream kind of gay film for people that isn't anything special, that's not trying too hard to be gay. Like, the whole fact that he's gay is not his whole character. There's more to Simon than the fact that he is gay, and I think that that's so important. I think that the end scene doesn't matter too much that they changed it because of this fact, because they're just trying to make a light-hearted teen film for gays that they can relate to, because you've always had these kind of, you know, Mean Girl films and Wild Child and things like that, like chick flick teenage films for girls and even guys maybe, that they enjoy, that are just light-hearted, they're kind of stupid, like they're cheesy at the end, they're corny, and that's exactly what this was, but for gay people, and I think that's what it needed to be. So I'm not exactly hating on the end scene, but I did want to give that small critique because it did nag at me. Maybe just because I analyse things too much and because I'm a big reader, it did bother me a bit, but at the end of the day I'm not mad at it. I would say if you want to go see Love, Simon, definitely go do it. It nearly made me cry a few times, but because my sisters were there, I was very aware. I didn't want to cry in front of them. I was like, no, if I cry in front of them, they might like take the piss. It was a very emotional film. Scenes that made me cry was the bit where he says about Martin taking it away from him. When his mum's talking to him, I was like, stop, you're gonna make me cry. There were just so many scenes in this film that did nearly make me cry, and I think it lets everyone relate to Simon, whether you're gay or not. Just having something in school that you don't want everyone to know, and having someone bully and blackmail you. I just think there's a little bit of something in there for everybody, and you should definitely go check out this film. Very funny in parts, very relatable, and it's just a nice light-hearted film. Like, just don't go into it with huge expectations, because I know that it's been blown up on social media and, you know, put as this big film on this high pedestal, but don't go into it with high expectations and you'll enjoy it. I feel like films that are put on a high pedestal and bigged up so much as being revolutionary and stuff, they can oftentimes be a little disappointing when you go in, because you're expecting something incredible and amazing because everyone's hyped it up so much. But if you just go into it thinking about it as what it is, which is a film about a gay boy who's closeted, and it's just light-hearted, a little bit of drama in there, a little bit of comedy, and you'll enjoy it. I should probably have also mentioned there's going to be tons of spoilers in this video. Oops. One of the other things that they changed, actually, before I go, is they changed that Leah was actually in love with Simon and not Nick, which I didn't like too much, but I understand why they did that. It's much easier to kind of let go of what Simon did. Like, she can let go of being in love with Simon because even she says, like, I need to kill off hetero Simon in my mind. I feel like it's easier for her to get over Simon because she's so accepting, and because they're best friends, and because she finds out he's gay, so she's like, okay, can't be in love with you now, I respect you, like, I'm not going to force you to be into women, obviously. So I do understand why they made that change, because it would have been too much with her being in love with Nick and the other one being in love with Nick, and it would have taken longer for them to resolve in the film. I kind of didn't like that, because I was like, I knew they were like hinting towards that. I could just tell, and when she was like, I'm not in love with Nick, I'm in love with you, and Simon was crying, I nearly cried. I was like, okay, I don't like this change, but this is emotional as hell. And I just felt so bad for her, and so bad for him. But I could kind of tell in the bedroom scene when she was talking about being destined to only love one person until it kills you. I was like, first of all, relatable, and second of all, she's so hinting that she's in love with him, which I didn't like, because I was like, in the book she's so in love with Nick. Is that true? I can't remember if I'm just making this up in my head or whether they actually changed that. Like, it's really messing with me. Like, I can't remember whether she was in love with Nick in the book or if she was in love with Simon. I'm pretty sure she was in love with Nick in the book. I'm pretty sure they changed that. Let me know in the comments if I'm wrong. I only read it a little while ago, but it's already like left my brain completely. I'm gonna sum this up now because I could talk for hours about this. I definitely think you should go and watch this, whether you're gay, straight, bisexual, asexual. Even if you're struggling to figure out what you are, go watch this film for sure. It definitely made me think a lot afterwards, and you know when you come out of the cinema and you're just kind of like in your head, like you can't get out of the film. It definitely did that for me, and I couldn't stop thinking about it after, so I definitely recommend going to see it. I would rate it a good 4 out of 5 stars maybe, only because of the small changes and things that kept bugging me, but I think if I hadn't read the book I would have given it a 5 out of 5. If you enjoyed this video, you can like, you can comment, and you can subscribe. I make new videos every Thursday and Sunday, or at least I try to, and I will see you guys in my next video. Please turn on my notifications because I'm trying to hit 350 subscribers by the end of this month, and I'm nearly there, so please help me out, and yeah. Bye!